Hello there. Welcome to the ASN program advisement. Used to be called the group advisement, but we've decided to record one virtually to make it convenient for everyone. So welcome. We're glad that you are considering coming to the nursing program here at GNTC. And we know that it can be a little bit of an intimidating and nuanced process. So we wanted to give you guys this information in a organized manner so that you can access it and have a stepwise approach from being admitted to the college to being admitted to the program. So that's what we're going to go over today. The purpose of this meeting is to provide you with information about our competitive admissions process or how to get into the program, to notify you of important deadlines, and supply you with a hard copy of all information given as well as the forms that must be submitted. And at the end of this, I will give you instructions on how to shoot me an email that you've attended this meeting or that you viewed this meeting, and I will forward you through email a hard copy of the information given so that you'll have a packet. My name is Ms. Heather Akers. I'm a nursing instructor here at GNTC. I've been here for almost 2 years at this time, and I'm in my 5th year of teaching. Ms. Lauren Ellsbury is our nursing program administrator. She also does some instructing. She's been here for quite a long time, a little over 10 years. Ms. Hill is an instructor as well as Ms. Miller, and the 4 of us as of right now are your ASN faculty. So who do you contact? I know that sometimes you may be sent around on a little wild goose chase trying to figure out who to contact. So let me just explain that process. As you'll see down here, the nursing faculty are also the nursing advisors, and your specific advisor is determined by the first initial of your last name. So if the first initial of your last name is A through G, you'll reach out to me. H through K, you'll reach out to Ms. Ellsbury. L through R, you'll reach out to Ms. Hill, and S through Z, you'll reach out to Ms. Miller. So what is our role in being your advisor? Well, we can answer program-specific questions about wherever you are in the process and what you need to do. We can help with registration. We prefer to give you the tools that you need so that you can actively register, because we can't register 200 students by ourselves, but we can give you assistance with that and help you in those first couple of semesters of registration so that you can do that. And we're going to be your point of contact throughout your time here in the ASN program, from the time you get into the program till the time that you hopefully graduate. So that's the purpose of us in this process. So just please, we do ask that you bear in mind that yes, we're the nursing advisors, but we're also nursing faculty. And so we teach in class, we go to clinical, we teach in the lab, and so we do have students several days a week. There may be some weeks that we have 3 12-hour clinicals in a row. So please give us a little grace when it comes to responding to your questions. I personally like to try to answer all of my emails within 48 business hours. So please give us a little grace in realizing that we are teaching classes, but we do want to be there for you. So feel free to reach out to us if you have questions. We also have a wonderful program assistant. Her name is Miss Brittany Jacobs. You'll see her email down here, bjacobs@gntc.edu. She can also answer entry-based questions. She can help you guys as far as your preoccupational classes and the competitive admissions process. She answers your questions about the entrance exam, which is the HESI, the testing period. She schedules those, and she helps you with registration for the HESI. She is also the individual who receives those eligibility forms when you're in that last semester of your prerequisites and you submit those eligibility forms. Those go to her. Ms. Jacobs is the individual who does the calculations process and sends out acceptance letters. So please know that nursing faculty, we are not directly involved in the admissions process. We can help advise you on things that you need to do to become eligible, but Ms. Jacobs is the individual who does all of the points calculations. So we'll kind of take each little step by step here. The very first thing that you need to do is apply to the college. You do that through the registrar's office. You can contact we have college-wide advisors, which you can reach at advising@gntc.edu, or feel free to reach out to one of your nursing program advisors. And you need to start on that preoccupational coursework. So hopefully you guys have started with those prerequisites. There's 9 of them, and we will go over them together. You need to attend a nursing program group advisement, which is what you are doing now. So when I give you the information on how to sign in at the end of this, please make sure that you do that. And you need to finish your pre-occupational coursework. So a little bit of information about our program, our occupational curriculum, which is where you are actually accepted to the program. It is a 2-year program, although it is now 4 consecutive semesters. So it's not 2 calendar years, but it does start. So for example, if you start in fall of 25, you would graduate in fall of 26. So we go 4 consecutive semesters starting in fall. So we go fall, spring, summer, fall. So you'll start in August and you'll graduate in December of the following year. We do not get summers off. We do have summer semester where we go. So with that being said, please bear in mind, since it's summer now, if this is summer when you watch this video, we are teaching. So be aware of that, please. The RN program is offered on the Walker County campus, which is in Rock Spring. The LPN program is offered here as well as Floyd, but the ASN or RN program is only offered on Walker County campus. We accept every fall, and we accept anywhere from around 40 to 50 students each fall. That does depend on a couple of different factors, but that is where we kind of set our target range for acceptance, is around 40 to 50 students, and we do have a competitive admissions process. The competitive admissions process is essentially you competing with other students. So there are a few things that we calculate in that competitive score. That's based on your performance in your pre-occupational classes, the scores that you make on your entrance exam, and then there are a couple of bonus points that you get if prerequisites were taken at GNTC, and if you have another healthcare licensure that has a certification, or if you were board certified. So if you've got a state recognized certification, you can get some extra bonus points with that. So we accept students based on the competitive score from that pool. So in order to be eligible for that pool, there are some minimum requirements that you have to meet. You need to finish all of your pre-occupational courses with a grade of C or higher. So we do not accept a grade of below a C on any of your prerequisites. You need to have a 3.0 GPA. That is of those 9 prerequisites. So when we're calculating your GPA, it's not your institutional GPA. We don't calculate any other courses that aren't one of those 9 pre-occupational courses that we require. So if you want to take an extra course that's not required to boost your GPA, that will not work. We only consider those 9 pre-occupational courses. You have to have attended a group advisement, which is what you're doing now, and you have to have submitted an eligibility request form. Those eligibility request forms are good for each admission cycle, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. And then the last thing you'll do is complete your entrance exam with recommended scores, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. There are 9 pre-occupational courses that you need to successfully complete. You need to score, like I said, at least a C or greater and have a minimum GPA of 3.0 in those 9 courses. So these are the 9 courses. You've got your biology 21, 13, 14, and 17. That's going to be your A&P1, A&P2, and microbiology. And bearing in mind that there is a lab component with each of those. So you'll be registering for 2113L, 2114L, and 2117L along with these. But we consider them as one course. And then Intro to Psychology, Human Development, College Algebra, English or Composition, Fundamentals of Speech or Public Speaking, and then you must take 1 humanities elective. We recommend English Lit or Music Appreciation. They may accept others, so that's someone that the admissions office would decide if they accept anything outside of this. We do not accept Intro to Statistics in the place of College Algebra, and you will be very grateful for that when you take your Pharmacology and Dosage Calculation course. So we do require that you have College Algebra. So when you're registering for these biology courses and this math course, keep in mind that those classes must have been taken within 5 years of your program entrance. So for example, if you took college algebra in 2001 and you apply to the 2026 cohort and you don't get in, you will have to retake that course if it's been more than 5 years from your program acceptance. So I like to recommend that. So taking your other courses first and then taking math and A&P 1, 2, and micro, depending on how many courses you take at a time. But just being aware of that the math and the biology courses do expire after 5 years. Submitting your eligibility request. So you don't necessarily apply to the program, but you submit that you're eligible for the program. That can be found on our website, gntc.edu. There is a tab up top that has My Resources, and when you click on that, you can scroll down to Forms, and that's where that eligibility is found. It's also, I think there's a link to it on our program website as well. So you can submit that eligibility request form during your last semester of pre-occupational courses. So that very last semester that you're taking those core classes, go ahead and submit that eligibility form. That goes to Ms. Jacobs, and that lets her know that when the grades are posted from that semester, she needs to check and make sure that you've passed those courses with a C or greater, that your GPA still puts you as eligible for the program, and then she will reach out to you when she's calculated all of that, which is usually going to take a week to 2 weeks after the semester grades post. So if January, the spring semester, you're taking your last semester of courses and you're excited and you submit that eligibility form, that's great. You will not hear from her until the semester grades post, and it's usually about a week or 2 later. So don't worry if you submit in January and then you never hear. You will once the grades are posted, and then she sees how many students that she has that are eligible, and she schedules that HESI with the testing center, okay? So eligibility request form in your last semester of prerequisites. It's valid only for the upcoming cohort. So if you applied but did not get in for that fall, you must submit a new eligibility form for the following cohort, okay? And everyone must submit a new eligibility form effective August 24. We can probably take that out, but it used to be that the eligibility form was valid for 3 years, but now we changed that because people were getting missed. So just every year that you apply, you need to fill out a new eligibility form. That way we make sure that no one's missed. And the submission deadline, this is a hard deadline. You must submit your eligibility form by the last day of the spring semester. So for example, this spring, May 2nd was the last day of the spring semester, so that was the last day the eligibility forms were accepted. So if students filled it out May 9th, May 10th, they wouldn't be eligible. So make sure you submit it before the last day of the spring semester prior to your desired fall entry. That is a hard date. So once you've submitted your eligibility form and those grades are posted, that means you've completed all of your prerequisites. So Ms. Jacobs will set you up with the testing center to take the entrance exam. So the HESI A2 specifically, because there are multiple HESIs, the HESI A2 is the one that we use for program entry. We consider 5 sections that you must complete to be eligible. Those sections are going to be reading, math, grammar, anatomy and physiology, and there is a critical thinking section, okay? But reading, grammar, math, and A&P, those are all prerequisites that you take. So people ask us, how do I study for that? Well, you study for that by doing your coursework well and your prerequisites and making sure that you work hard and study that. There's also a critical thinking section. We recommend, it used to be required that you score a 75% minimum and a 750 minimum on the critical thinking. It is no longer a hard requirement. The reason being is because if we have students who have a 4.0 GPA and they make 100 on 4 sections, but something happens and they forget how to read and they make a 74 on just one of those sections, that would make them ineligible for the program, and we did not think that that was the best way to handle that. So we now recommend a minimum score of 75% or 750, but if you score below that, that does not automatically exclude you from the pool. We think it's important that we look at all different things. So your pre-occupational courses must be completed prior to taking the exam, and that's because that's going to help you. As you can see, the content on the exam is the content you take in your prerequisites. So when you see that recommended score, just know if you make a 74 or a 749 on one of the sections, it does not automatically exclude you from being eligible, okay? You can take the entrance exam, again, once preoccupational classes are completed. It will be taken on campus through GNTC Testing Center, either on the Floyd or the Walker County campus, and Ms. Jacobs will reach out to you about scheduling that. We do allow you to take it up to 2 attempts per academic year, so you can take it in the fall, you can take it again in the spring, or you can take it in the spring and take it again in the summer, provided that you're eligible to sit for it and that your prerequisites are done. Your exam scores on the HESI are valid for up to 3 years. We will take the highest score from each section across both attempts. So if you score well, but you think, you know what, I want to take it again, and you have that second attempt available to you and you want to try to take it again, whereas you'll have to pay for it, we will take the highest scores from each section across those 2 attempts. So you really can't hurt yourself. You're not going to make your score any lower by taking it again, but that is up to you. You don't have to take it twice. There are different resources that you can use for review. There's books, there's apps. SAT and ACT prep books are going to be good with that critical thinking, as will logic puzzles, crossword puzzles, Sudokus, cryptoquotes, any of those kind of things. And then obviously your A&P textbooks. There are some really good YouTube videos related to, A&P and things like that. Just be aware of your resource. You can purchase outside testing books, but you don't have to. And here's a couple of websites that we found. Some of them do have like a basic free introductory program, like So Many Questions. Some you do have to pay for. I did not pay for any extra when I took the ATI when I got into my program, but that's up to you. They're available to you if you choose to. When you set for your HESI, you will get a recommended remediation available after you set for the test. And we really highly recommend that you go through that remediation, the individual weaknesses specifically for you. So it's going to give you a report of your strengths and your weaknesses. So students say, well, what do? I took the HESI in February and I don't get into the program until August. You can still, even if you did very well, strengthen those areas of weakness. And also, you need to keep in mind that we use HESI products throughout the program as well. So that's going to help get you oriented and familiar with those products that we will actually use in the program. And once you've done all these things, we're going to take your prerequisites, we're going to take your HESI scores, we're going to see if you get any of those extra bonus points, and I mean Ms. Jacobs, is going to rank everyone. She's going to add up everyone's points, and we look at that final score. That final score and the top however many, those are the candidates that are chosen. So once she gets all eligibility requests, which for this year eligibility is already over. She's going to look to see who all's attended group advisement and who submitted eligibility and who's taken HESI, and she will be the one that completes all of those competitive profiles. Okay, so your profiles are active for the length of that eligibility request. We will take the top however many, usually between 40 and 50, and those students will receive their acceptance letters by email. If you're not accepted, your eligibility form will become inactive and you must submit a new one. If you choose to remove yourself, you need to notify Ms. Jacobs. So we realize that life happens, or maybe you got accepted into another program. Congratulations. If you choose to remove yourself, please notify Ms. Jacobs and let her know so that she is aware and you don't take a slot that you don't intend to keep and take an opening away from another student. If you choose to retake any of the pre-occupational courses or your entrance exam again to better your chances, you're absolutely welcome to do that. But do submit an email to Ms. Jacobs and just let her know, hey, I retook the HESI or I retook this class or that class. so that she knows. And when she recalculates the profiles next year, she'll make sure that she has your most recent and highest grades that she calculates. So once the new cohort has been chosen, you'll receive an email with your acceptance results. Usually the HESI in the summer is taken around the second week of June. So by the third-ish or so week of June is usually around when those acceptance letters go out. If you're accepted into the program and you receive that letter, there are additional steps that you need to complete. We will send you we will send you a letter of intent to enroll. You need to make sure that you complete that and you submit it back to Ms. Jacobs by the deadline to reserve your space. If you do not submit that form by the deadline, you will forfeit your spot and it will be given to someone else. So make sure you confirm with her that you are intending to enroll. Once you submit that intent to enroll, that is considered an attempt in the program if you actually come to class or not. Because if you submit your letter of intent to enroll and then you don't show up, like I said, you're taking that spot away from someone else. So make sure that you're sure when you submit that letter of intent to enroll. And we understand that things happen. We would take certain circumstances into consideration, but it's very important that you submit that or you will lose your spot, okay? There will be a nursing program orientation after that. It's usually a little bit into July, and that is where we will have a meeting with you, kind of talking to you about program orientation. So that's where we'll give you your health packet. There's certain things that you're going to have to do before the program even starts to keep your slot. That health packet is going to include some things like you are going to have to take a urine drug screen, so don't celebrate too much whenever you get accepted, okay? We do a urine drug screen, a criminal background check, and you'll receive your health packet where you will get the list of immunizations that you need. It's also available in our ASN handbook online. You're going to have to get BLS if you don't have it, and it does not count American Red Cross. It's got to be BLS, okay? So like healthcare, American Heart BLS. You do have to purchase a liability insurance through the school, which I think is like $15, $20 a year. And then there's a couple of other things that you're going to have to do. But make sure that you complete all of these things before the first day of class by that deadline. If you haven't completed all of them, then you won't be able to come to class the first day, okay? A few other informational items. You do have 2 attempts at the program. So what does that mean? If you aren't successful in one attempt in whatever class it may be, you are able to come back in and apply for readmission within 1 year of that last semester based on space eligibility. So let's say that you pass first semester and second semester you're unsuccessful. You can remediate and you can reapply for admission for the next time that class is offered. So let's say you're unsuccessful in spring semester, you can remediate and reapply to come back into the program that spring semester without having to completely start all over. So you are allowed one second attempt. Be aware if that does happen that if you're not coming back within 1 year, then you have to go back into the pool and you're going to have to retake those prerequisites that have probably expired within those 5 years. So just bearing that in mind. So keep a close eye on your GNTC student email account. All of your information will come to Ms. Jacobs from that. That's where you'll get your acceptance letter, and feel free to reach out to any of the advisors if you have questions along the way. So just to reiterate those important dates and deadlines, the eligibility form must be submitted by the last day of spring semester prior to your desired fall entry. So make sure you do not miss that date. That is a hard date. If you submitted your eligibility form anytime during the fall semester, remember that you will test in February. If you submitted your eligibility form during the spring semester, you will test in June. And if you submitted your eligibility form during the summer, you will test in October. So we offer that once a semester. And your eligibility form is available on the My Resources link under Forms on the website. You'll get your HESI exam information via email. You'll also get your acceptance letter via email, in which you'll have to return that letter of intent to enroll. I think she gives you like a two-week time frame to do that, and then you'll come to orientation and receive your health packet. So those are all important documents that you need to make sure you keep up with. All right, well, that's it. If you will, please, I'll leave this up for a moment, or you can pause the video. Please sign in with your student GNTC email, okay? Make sure you put your GNTC email when you sign up. I want to say that again because we cannot email you through your Gmail, Hotmail, AOL mail. So make sure you sign in with your GNTC student email and put your student ID number, your first and last name as it appears on your records, and we will make sure that you get added to the list of attendees so that you've completed this advisement. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your advisor. We wish you all good luck, and we hope to see you in the program.